There are some games that excel in gameplay and others in story. Then there are those which excel in vibe and atmosphere. It is that type of a game that I wanted to talk about. Having played it for the first time, I can say that my experience was quite fun and somewhat interesting. Even though it has an amazing soundtrack and groundbreaking technology, my experience felt inconsistent in quality along with some accessibility issues. So, let's talk about Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Very early on in the game, you will quickly come to realize that the city gives off some 80s Miami vibe. The ladies are roller skating, cops are chasing some criminals, the cars, and most importantly, the entire soundtrack really encapsulates the setting to be in the 80s. Now, that is what I call atmosphere. Most of the time, the word atmosphere is used, it is associated with horror media. But with a game like this, the atmosphere really helps in engaging and immersing the players into the game. There is also another factor that makes the game even more engaging. Here, let me show you a mission.
People love to hear themselves rattle. Anyway, sermon over. I hope you folks at home understand how passionate we are about public radio, and it has nothing to do with the fact I got kicked off.
Did you see what happened? If you didn't, don't worry. I will explain it to you. This is called AI pathfinding. Notice how the AI is able to swerve around the traffic and also changing direction by its own volition. Also notice that it is not taking any predetermined paths. This was a groundbreaking technology that very few games utilizes. The only one that comes to mind is Watch Dogs 2 by Ubisoft. I will definitely talk about that game later. Anyway, where was I? Ah, yes, pathfinding. It is used multiple times throughout the game and it can also be experienced outside of missions like this. Speaking of AI pathfinding, let's talk about police chases. Since the release of the first Grand Theft Auto in 1997, it has become a staple of the series, with Rockstar Games continuing to improve upon it with every iteration. In this game, the police are very brutal and will stop at nothing to arrest you. They will ram the crap out of you, pit maneuver you, pop your tires, either by shooting or through spikes. Well, how do you get away from police? Just go to pay and spray. It will reduce your star level as told by the game. Only thing that is weird about it is that the cops watch you go inside and come outside and somehow they don't recognize you. Anyway, I also want to show an aspect of the police chases that not a lot of games have. That is the emergent gameplay. If you have played the game as much as I have, you must have realized that whenever a problem arises, like the police ramming you or a car's tire getting popped, you are trying to think of all the possible solutions to escape from this predicament. That is the very essence of emergent gameplay. The moment-to-moment gameplay is designed to engage you by throwing a problem and giving you the satisfaction of finding the solution. And since we are on the topic of emergent gameplay, let me show you an example. No Escape is a mission where you have to break out a dude from a police station. Sounds simple, right? Not quite. The first time I did the mission, I went full on guns blazing and I failed. The second time, I found out you can do it quietly. After multiple attempts, I passed this mission. Here's how I did it. First, I parked my car in this way so that cops can't get to me. After I rescued a guy, we leave the police station. During the chase, the car starts burning due to taking high damage, so I switched to a cop car and headed towards paint spray. A moment later, I realized paint spray does not work on cop cars, so I went to a location I remembered to get another car and pass this mission. All the choices that I made in this mission were not forced or spelled out by the developers. They were my own. This is a good example of emergent gameplay. This is what makes GTA Vice City hell of a lot of fun. Almost all of the missions can play out like this. Moving on, let's talk about the things that I didn't like. Let me start with this no mission thing. If you take a look at this map, you will notice that somehow I have no missions. I thought, that's weird, and I looked it up. Turns out I have to buy some of the so-called assets to reach the final mission. And boy, are the prices insane. $120,000 for this place, $60,000 for this place, and this is how much I had. Looking at these prices, I realized what I needed to do. Grinding. Lots of grinding. I absolutely despised doing it. Another thing that I hated was the checkpoint system. It is not fun to die and respawn with no weapons. Sure, the taxi will take you back to the mission, but you will have to do the mission again from the start. Also, if you fail and do not die, you will not get a taxi and have to get back yourself. All these negatives really soured my experience for what was otherwise a fun game. But there are other things that I genuinely enjoyed, such as the story and the characters. While I found the story to be simplistic in nature, I found the characters absolutely hilarious and was looking forward to seeing more of them. Characters like Umberto Robina and the Love Fist really bring so much humor to this game. After going through my playthrough, I can say that this game has some highs and some lows. While I found the gameplay to be super fun, I found the asset acquisition and the checkpoint system to be obnoxious. Does that mean this game is bad? Of course not. This is, after all, just my opinion. My experience may vary from your experience. Maybe you will like this game more than me, maybe not. But at the end of the day, we all can say that Grand Theft Auto Vice City is kind of fun and has its own charm.